All Americans deserve the right to clean water. And in North Dakota, a brave group of Americans are fighting to protect that right. The Standing Rock Sioux are fighting to prevent a giant pipeline from being built that would cut through the Missouri River, their clean water source. Now, they're not just fighting for their right, they're also fighting for 17 million Americans who depend on the Missouri River for their clean water. If this pipeline gets completed, what happens? An energy company makes a bunch of money. And what else happens? An oil spill is all but guaranteed. And we lose one more chance to protect public good over private profit. Now, the Sioux aren't going anywhere. They're staying put. But they need our support. So please, wherever you are, take out your phone, call the White House and ask President Obama to protect clean water for 17 million Americans. For now, and for future generations, stand with the Standing Rock Sioux.
This particular issue has brought together 500 tribes from all over the nation. Never in the history of our nation has all of the Native American tribes come together under one issue. And they see this as a very special historical moment for them.
Thank you so much for your time, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Let me tell you, there's people being really hurt there. I've been on the phone all day with them. It's very scary, and these people are just like us. We can't forget our humanity in the face of these kinds of things. You have a corporation and a state who's working on behalf of a corporation to hurt our people. They're militarized. The National Guard has been called in. I mean, this is not an emergency. This is not a national emergency. These are peaceful protesters. The State Department, the Department of Interior, the DOJ, and President Obama himself has asked them to voluntarily halt any construction until this can be worked out in a peaceful manner. And the Governor Dalrymple of North Dakota, if there's blood on anyone's hands, it's on his hands.
All right, Mark Ruffalo, thank you so much.
I tell you, I was in Standing Rock last week. I have never, ever in my life experienced the kind of bravery, courage, and peacefulness in the face of violent opposition that I did when I was observing and reporting on the water protectors. I arrived, late in the game. The struggle has been going on there for months. But what I witnessed it changed my life forever. And I think if people start to understand what's really happening at Standing Rock, it will change their lives forever. I saw water protectors in North Dakota, in the water, on the banks, trying to get to their sacred burial grounds called Turtle Island, where Army Corps of Engineer land, treaty land that was given to them, and a row of 100 policemen preventing them from getting out of the water. Now, this is North Dakota in November. That water is about 40 degrees. They stood there and were peaceful and spoke to the police and said, "We're praying for you. You're human beings." And then they were pepper sprayed in their face. Then they were tear gassed. They were shot at with rubber bullets. My colleague, Aaron Schrody, who was a reporter, was shot in the back with a rubber bullet out of a grenade launcher. The kind of suppression of the media out there and the violence against peaceful protesters, it made me feel like I was with Gandhi at the salt mine protests. I felt like I was witnessing something so transformative that it delegitimized the government of the United States itself. The moral authority of the United States and certainly of North Dakota police fell apart at the feet of these peaceful protesters. So the Dakota Access Pipeline is a struggle of indigenous sovereignty, of water protection, of our environment, of climate change, of fracking, of our Bill of Rights. All of America is standing there with Standing Rock, and if that pipeline is allowed to go through, it will be like shredding the Constitution.
Yeah, that's tragic. Talk about the term water protectors. What did they mean by that, and what does it mean to you?
Well, the Dakota Access Pipeline is scheduled to run underneath the Cannonball River, right at the intersection of the Cannonball River and the Missouri River. That's a watershed for 17 million people. So the Dakota Access Pipeline was originally supposed to go through Bismarck, predominantly white Bismarck, and they rerouted it. So in another instance of a long history of environmental racism, they moved that route away from Bismarck and down through the Native American reservation. So what this means is they're trying to prevent a pipeline which is carrying oil from fracked oil fields in North Dakota from potentially leaking under their river, under their only source of water. And they've got a point. There have been 3,300 significant spills of major pipelines in the United States between 2010 and 2015. The Yellowstone River has been contaminated. The Kalamazoo River destroyed in a couple of years ago, and an ongoing multi-million-dollar cleanup has not solved that problem. Mayflower, Arkansas, a town, had to be entirely abandoned due to an oil spill. Santa Barbara beaches contaminated during an oil spill, all from pipelines. I could go on and on and on. The pipeline industry exists in a criminal, negligent state all the time. They're not adequately monitored. They're not adequately regulated. So it is not if the pipeline breaks, it is when. Yeah. So we're talking about a watershed for millions upon millions of Americans downstream. So the water protectors are protecting not only their watershed, but the watershed of 17 million Americans that could potentially be contaminated by the leak should it occur under the watershed, near the watershed, which is very common.
You mentioned Aaron Schroed, and I've got a little clip of that incident. Take a look at this.
Sure. Yeah.
This is a sovereign nation right here. This is sovereign people's land right here. So.
Oh! Who the f*** is that?
You okay? Here. All right, are you back?
That was her being shot in the back. Now, my feeling is that if Aaron were a militia member with the Bundy brothers and the police had shot her in the back, it would have gotten 24/7 corporate media coverage for a week, and it would have become an international cause célèbre. Why isn't that happening in Standing Rock? Why is there no mainstream corporate media coverage?
Well, it wasn't lost on Erin that her video, she actually captured herself being shot in the back by this grenade-launched, very large rubber bullet. Earlier that afternoon, or rather about 15, 20 minutes before we arrived on the scene when that happened, one of the Native American water protectors was shot in the back. And he wasn't wearing a big puffy coat like Aaron was. He was, gathering wood to create a blockade of the gunboats that were trying to come in. Shot in the back, coughing up blood, until several days later. There have been so many atrocities against the Native protesters. Aaron's video went viral. Thank God. It helped shine a spotlight on what's happening there. But there is no question in my mind that this environmental racism is pointing out another kind of deep racism in the mainstream media. Why is the mainstream media not reporting on the police brutality and the violence being wrought against the Native Americans, which is part of a 400-year history of violence against those tribes? Why are they not there? Where is MSNBC? Where is CNN? Where is Fox News? I mean, Mark Ruffalo went on to talk about Standing Rock, but that's because he's a major celebrity. Where are the reporters on the ground? I mean, I saw a video that I made for Now This News get 25 million views in the course of 4 days. People want this news. People want to hear about Standing Rock because they understand it is the most important civil rights struggle, indigenous rights struggle, climate change struggle, and fracking struggle. And yes, it is clear that they're targeting journalists. Amy Goodman served with criminal trespassing felony charges. My producer, Dea Schlossberg, currently facing 45-year sentence for taping a solidarity protest in North Dakota against the pipelines there, not the Dakota Access Pipeline, but similar pipelines from the tar sands. Shailene Woodley arrested for live streaming. And the medics on the scene warned me. They said, listen, we know they're targeting medics. We know they're targeting journalists. So now, Aaron Schroed, yes, my colleague, I was standing not 10 feet from her. I heard the shot. I whipped around with the camera, and I saw it. I could not believe I'm watching a reporter limping away from the scene. And she's still not walking very well right now. It is egregious. It is atrocious. These are human rights violations. These are violations of the First Amendment against the press. And we are calling on people to go to Standing Rock because we need people to show up and say, by no means should this pipeline get this permit under this administration.
Yeah. You recently came out with a film called How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things Climate Can't Change. Can't change. It looked at how people are responding, to the new reality of climate change. How does what you saw out at Standing Rock fit into the story that you told in that film?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, how to love all the things climate can't change. The things that climate can't change, you know, we might lose our major cities due to sea level rise. We might see droughts and floods. But the things that climate can't change are our civic virtues. They're our values, you know, community, human rights, democracy, love, innovation, resilience, courage. These are the things that are inside of us that no storm can take away. And what I saw at Standing Rock was a remarkable display of a new kind of values that is emerging right now among the climate fighters all across the world, whether these are indigenous tribes in the Amazon or Native Americans at Standing Rock or you know, the Pacific climate warriors in the South Pacific, or people in New York City who faced down Hurricane Sandy and then repaired their communities out of love and out of mutual aid. This is a new value system. It's not based on greed. It's not based on competition. It's not based on individualism or institutionalized violence or oil and gas. It's based on renewable energy. It's based on a different sense of resilience and generosity and care for your fellow man. And if you get to Standing Rock, if you get to there, that self-organized, beautiful, incredible community with so much integrity, you will be welcomed by people from all over the world, yes, by the over 300 tribes that are represented there that have created unity for the first time in hundreds of years. You will be welcomed by something rather extraordinary. There are campfires every night. There are songs. There are prayer ceremonies. And this is a place where culture is open to those who are willing to participate. And that cultural battle is on display all across the United States right now. It certainly flies in the face of the insanity of the racism and corporate greed of a Trump administration. And listen, it is also something against the Democratic establishment that has way too long been a shill for corporate America and has let the oil and gas industry run, you know, roughshod all across the United States, whether it was fracking or the BP oil spill. So we have to build a new system of values. Those are all the things climate can't change. My film really focuses on that all across the world, on 6 continents. Standing Rock is an incredible, shining example of that. And I'm looking forward to going back there as soon as I can.
Josh, we have about a half a minute. How has the election of Donald Trump put a nail in the coffin of the planet, or do you think not?
Well, I think we have to strengthen our resolve. I think we have to be more nonviolent. I think we have to be more organized than ever. I think the most important litmus test for climate action is, did you leave your house? You can't do this by clicking on things. You've got to show up at the organizing rallies. You've got to show up at the organizing meetings. You've got to show up at the protests, the sit-ins, the blockades. We need boots on the ground right now. If we're going to survive the insanity of a climate change denier in the White House, it's going to take us redoubling our efforts and being more steadfast, more resilient, and I think more peaceful and loving than ever.
Yeah, brilliantly said. Josh Fox, you do such great work. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Tom. It's great to be on. Thank you so much.
There is no such thing as a rubber bullet. They're firing hard plastic bullets from assault weapons at less than 10 feet range at peaceful protesters, okay? They're real serious about this, and they will kill people if necessary. They would prefer not to because it's bad press, but they'll continue to ratchet this up. And it's not just the police that's involved in this. You have these mercenary forces, in this case an outfit called Tiger Swan, which is a spinoff of Blackwater, that's run by a former Delta Force colonel and using special operatives. And it's really difficult to separate out what the police are doing and what this mercenary group that's been retained by Energy Transfer Corporation is doing. But the appearance is, to some analysts, that the mercenary group, the private group, the highly militarized expertise that's available in that is essentially commanding the police.
Certainly a lot of strong statements for the officials over at Standing Rock. We'll keep an eye on this and hopefully we'll have you back on. We got to leave that right there. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Native American professor, historian, and author, Mr. Ward Churchill.
Two of them at Fort Campbell, two deployments to Afghanistan. As a veteran, I took an oath to protect the people against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and protect the Constitution. I'm not Native American, but I am white, and we took an oath to defend these people. And right now, this nation is facing a domestic enemy, DAPL, enemy transfer partners.
I've only done that at specific times, and it's in accordance with U.S. flag code.
Not meaning to be disrespectful, but we are in distress.
And that's exactly what's occurring here. This is extreme risk to life and property, because when you threaten several million people, their drinking supply, that's a threat to life and property. I'm sorry, but so that warrants me inverting the American flag the way that I do. The First Amendment right grants us as American citizens the right to freedom of speech, to address our government whenever we take issue with something, and to be able to do that without fear and intimidation being utilized against you to try and silence you.
By turning in your badges, putting down your guns, refusing to carry those pepper spray canisters.
And look, there's been helicopters following us wherever we go. I haven't seen that since I've been in Afghanistan.
The Constitution is meant to protect the government from infringing upon that. And when they don't do something, when they don't intervene, when we don't have our most senior leadership here in the mainstream media doing responsible reporting, that's a betrayal to service members who served all across this country to protect these rights. They're still utilizing fear and intimidation on what's largely peaceful people who just want a peaceful resolution to protect their land.
Without violence against people, it enables the continued destruction of the land. People of this land, you're here today, calling on President Obama to protect the water.
I can't understand why the Commander-in-Chief hasn't yet came over here to see for himself, which is what responsible leadership does. I find it funny in the letter from the Army Corps of Engineers that in the first paragraph they state that for public safety and for the welfare of the people that they need to disperse the camp because of the interaction and the violence. You see, the only violence here that has occurred has been from the United States government and the foreign or the dipshit contractors, the private security firms, Swan and whoever else that they fucking hire out. These contract fucking mercenaries, these has-beens, who, because they don't have work overseas in fucking Iraq or Afghanistan, they want to come over there and shoot First Nation people in the back of the fucking head with rubber bullets. So the only violence that I've seen has been on their part. Fucking Morton County piece of shit sheriff department. So I'm stupid pissed right now. I can't say as I'm any too surprised, but guess what? You're not going to deter, you're not going to deter the veterans coming into Standing Rock. You're not going to deter the First Nations people that are standing there. You're not going to deter the other Americans who have flooded into Standing Rock in order to stand alongside the people who are exercising their First Amendment right to tell you to go fuck yourself, and they don't like what you're doing. You're not going to deter us, even with your letter. So you can probably expect that leading into December 5th, you're going to have several thousand more people pour in. That's what I would encourage. I would encourage more people to take time off work, to leave their jobs, to do whatever they need to do, to go to Standing Rock and tell the Corps of Engineers they can go to hell too. Because guess what, Army Corps of Engineers? I don't think the land appropriately belongs to you anyhow because of the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. So you can suck it. You can suck it, Army Corps of Engineers. What do you fucking do anyhow? You're entrusted to manage public land. Is that federal land? Who does it belong to? Does it belong to you? Does it belong to the First Nations? Exactly who does it belong to? Because I'm pretty fucking certain that you guys stole that shit a little while back. I don't know. Maybe it was during the peak of the gold rush down there. I don't really know. But I know at some point in time, you broke the damn treaty and you took land that should have been yours to begin with. So actually, you Army Corps of Engineers should be getting fucking evicted immediately, along with the Morton County, Sheriff's Department, along with Swan International, whoever those fucktards are. They should all be getting booted off that land. And the land should be returned to its rightful owners. Period. We got enough property in America. We don't need any more. And furthermore, we don't need their pipeline going through there and placing that oil at risk. You people who have been fooled, you've been duped into believing that these pipelines are so safe. You do know that there's a Navy veteran up there, right, who's a whistleblower on the pipelines because he was tasked with covering up oil company cleanups. Did you guys know that? He's up there teaching lessons, and I'm going to contact the man because he's a fellow Navy veteran, and we're going to bring more exposure to the pipeline and the oil company. Their pipelines aren't as fucking safe as they think that they are. The big oil spill that happened up here in Michigan, look at that video that he did on that. They covered it up. They spent millions of dollars to cover it up. Millions. And this guy blew the whistle on him. And guess what? Yes, he got fired because he told them that shit's not clean. And it's poisoned, it's poisoned communities up there because their drinking water's poisoned. It's happening all over this country. They have allowable leak rates. Leak rates. You know what that means? With a 500,000 a gallon day oil pipeline that goes underneath the river, when you have that and they have an acceptable drop rate and pressure of, I don't know, 1%. So let's say 500 gallons, 5,000 gallons. That's a lot of fucking oil that's pouring into the river, that's pouring into the drinking water. But they don't care. You know why? Because they're rich fucking consumers. They can get clean water elsewhere if they want to. They don't give a damn. So you stand firm, Standing Rock. You stand firm right where you're at. They want to push you off that land. Nope. Nope. It's not their land to begin with. Not their land. Veterans are coming in, and I think that it's a strategic point in the federal government because we haven't heard anything yet out of the Commander-in-Chief. We haven't heard anything yet out of Donald Trump. We haven't heard anything yet out of our senior-most leadership here in this country about the situation ongoing in North fucking Dakota. Where are you when you're being paid to do a fucking job, President Barack Obama? Where are you? So they issue a federal order to have that land vacated under the premise about the safety of the people. If you were concerned about the safety of the fucking people, you would have taken your ass out there and you would have cut their fucking hoses where they were sucking water out and spraying it on these people in 20 some odd degree weather. You would have fucking done it then if you were really concerned about the safety of those people. If you were really concerned about the safety of those people, you wouldn't allow the trafficking of children off of reservations. If you were really fucking concerned about it. We've used the Army against the First Nations people in the past in Wounded Knee and other massacres in this country, and it's absolutely fucking deplorable to me. It's deplorable to me that somebody in this fucking country would issue another order ordering the fucking Army to come in and disperse freaking indigenous personnel. Fuck you and whoever you are that issued that order. I'm mad as shit this evening. I read that letter and I just sat there steaming. The more I read, the madder I fucking got. And I'm sorry. I know I've got a lot of profanity. That's 20 years in the United States Navy and being pissed off at a country that I swore to protect, to watch big corporations, big business, and the collusion with the fucking government continue to destroy America at the expense of the American people. Because they don't give a shit about us. It's time we took that stand. This is the 1960s of our time. But we stand together, black, white, native, Chinese, Japanese, it don't matter. We stand there as human beings, as humans who know what's right in our heart. That pipeline is not good for this country, no more so than there are any other pipelines that they want to run through this country and destroy property. We need to move past oil, and we have the ability, we have the knowledge. we have the technical expertise that we can move past oil and coal and everything else. Don't tell me that we fucking don't, because I know that we do. It's time we took back our country from the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. and from the corporations who want to ruin this country. It's not fucking theirs. It's ours. It's our country. I'm mad about it because this is not the country that I want to give over to my children, and I'm not going to. My children will not inherit this country. They will inherit a country that I fought for 20 years. And I'm sorry that it took me so long to realize what was going on. I'm really mad. You guys stand firm. Stand firm in Standing Rock. I'm coming back to Standing Rock. Veterans are coming to Standing Rock. They can push us off that ground. This is Cass Jackson with Restoring Freedom. We will restore freedom to Cannonball, North Dakota, to Standing Rock. We will restore freedom in the rest of this country. Army Corps of Engineers, I'll see you soon.
This was our land, and they wanted to use it, but they abused the use of it. We have rights. Even though we're Native people, we still have rights. Hello, my name is Saginaw Grant. I belong to the Sac and Fox tribe of Oklahoma. You know, they're abusing Mother Earth when they had this pipeline going through there. All pipelines have broken one time or another, and it affects the water, it affects Mother Earth and what they're doing. Even digging up our graves, there was that's sacred ground. And there was treaties made with these grounds, with these cemeteries, and yet these treaties are being broken, as all treaties have been broken throughout the years. A treaty to a Native person is something very special. It's a giving your word. Giving your word. It's very serious. We cleanse ourselves before we go to a treaty to know that we are clean when we come before our Creator to make this promise, make this event more sacred. You know, I don't criticize the people who we made treaties with. They don't understand. They never have understood. I said, they don't today. Our belief is to be peaceful, to help each other, to always respect each other and respect the things that we said to one another, especially in these treaties. And this is what we would like to teach the people who are abusing my people up there in North Dakota. It hurts me. I know it hurts our traditional people who are still alive today. There's not many of us left, but we try to keep true to who we believe in and what we believe in. The people up there know that I pray for you. Know that I feel for you. Hurts. Hurts. I wanted to be there with you, but I was advised not to because I would be picked out or targeted for being up there and have to go to jail. So I was advised not to come up at this time. But in time I will be there. I just want to say, be strong. Keep your belief in everything that we believe in. Thank you.
Like many, I've been watching the heroic protests at Standing Rock against the Dakota Access Pipeline. To explain more about this story, I'm sitting down with Dennis Banks, who spent decades as a leader in the Native movement. Dennis is from Leech Lake Indian Reservation in Minnesota. In 1968, he and his colleagues founded the American Indian Movement, known as AIM. He's led countless actions for Native rights. Let's talk about the pipeline in general. What land is it being built on? You said the Sioux Nation. Talk about the land, the environmental destruction, and what effect it would have on the communities if it does go through.
The history of safety and the leaks and the disruptions with the Dakota Access Pipeline is terrible. And they said we have a good record of safety. No, it's not. It's not. It's contaminated the soil back there, contaminated the water back there, and it's contaminating the air. Now you're bringing it here, and we're saying no. And Archambault and them went out there, went right out to the site, said, no, you're going to stop right here. He got arrested. Tribal council members also, standing with him, they got arrested. The Dakota Access Pipeline is on the terribly wrong side of history on this one. It's bad. I mean, they say, we stand behind our record of safety, but they can't. And if any of that leakage goes into the Missouri River, it's going to destroy not only the river itself in that area, but all downstream. Mm-hmm. And it'll be catastrophic danger happening. Catastrophic danger happening. Catastrophic danger happening.
It doesn't help the United States if it leaks, right? It doesn't help the people who live downstream.
I'm not going to win that argument with you because pipelines do leak. It's rare. I think the chances of this pipeline leaking is extremely remote.
Catastrophic danger happening. Catastrophic danger happening. The tribal nations in this country understand from when time first began, that we had the responsibility of being a caretaker. And that responsibility is very great and huge, and it never ends. And we assume that. I've been hearing that since I was a kid about, you got to take care of the land, you got to take care of the land, take care of the water, you got to take care of the air, and you got to take care of the soil.
Such an important set of values that's been so lost.
Absolutely.
And so many people in this country, Dennis, and it's quite astounding that the oil companies can say that they have this perfect safety record. Considering in the last 2 weeks there's been multiple spills that have been completely covered up by the media. I wonder why, let alone this whole protest is covered up.
You got to take care of the land, you got to take care of the land, take care of the water, you got to take care of the air, and you got to take care of the soil.
We're here right now to stand with the people in Standing Rock in North Dakota. This is one of the most important movements of our time. And I, as a person that cares deeply for the environment, I am here to urge you all to stand with us in this matter. No matter if you cannot be in Standing Rock, but we all have to stand together because this is about all of us. It doesn't matter where you live, we have to take care of Mother Earth, we have to take care of our environment and the water. I am here right now in Muskoka, Canada, and this is how beautiful and pristine the water is. This is worth taking care of. So I urge you, stand with the people in Standing Rock. And thank you, brothers and sisters in Standing Rock. You are awesome. You are the warriors of Mother Earth. And you're here to do your work right now. How important your work is for all of us. So stand with the people in Standing Rock. I am Rikard Clyne, and I am here with all my heart and soul for this cause. So it is. Miigwech.